So first things first on the slab edge sweep, you need to start a new family, and you can use profile or profile hosted. You'll notice when you click profile hosted, a little preview it gives you, you see a whole bunch of words over here in the preview. And really all that is to tell you where the insertion point and profile should be drawn. And so it'll look something like this. You'll have the host faced, host, and insertion point. Now these guys were over here right on this line, and I've just moved them off to the side so we can work. I've also added in one more reference plane right here to show me the thickness of the slab that I'm going to be using. So in most cases when you're using profiles, you can assume that the profile is going to be drawn to this side of the line, and in certain instances when we're talking about a slab edge sweep or things like that, they tend to get hosted to the underside outer edge of the slab. So now I essentially can see the shape of my slab in this upper left quadrant. Now what we have left to do is just do some line work, and starting at the intersection here, well, you can start anywhere, but I'm going to go up about, I don't know, 4 inches or so, out about 6, let's say a foot and a half, 8, and bring it on back around. Now, I've got a 4-inch dimension from the underside to here. I've got a 1 foot thick slab, which should give me an 8-inch drop. So that's about where we should be. Now, if you need to, you can certainly add dimensions and parameters here so that you can give some flexibility to the slab edge. Right now, this is kind of a single use one. Now, before you do your final save here, go to Category and Parameters, and you can change your profile usage. Right now it's set to generic, which means this profile is going to be able to be used for anything, whether it's a handrail, curtain wall, mullion, slab edge, whatever. So if you really are creating something to only be used for a singular purpose, like a slab edge, you can change the profile usage called slab edge, and it won't show up anywhere else, which makes things a little less confusing when you have 100 100 profiles loaded into a Revit project. So hit OK, give it a save, and we're ready to rock and roll. Now, the second part of this is loading it into a project, because remember, these profiles are hosted. So I'm going to go ahead and just load into project. I've got one running here in the background. And what it'll do is it'll load it in here under families, profiles, and you'll see there's my slab edge brick, is what I called it. Okay, so now we still have a couple more things to do, and I'm going to rotate to a 3D view here so we can see the underside of the slab. Okay, and I'm just going to zoom in on it just a little bit. Now, when I go to the slab edge, floor slab edge command, it's going to bring up the slab edge thickened 24 by 12. Now, you can do this on the fly. You don't have to like add the slab edge first and then come back and change it. So I'm going to go straight to type properties here, and I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to call it slab edge brick. Okay, good enough. So we have a new type called slab edge brick. What you have to do now is then you have to tell it to use the profile that you've created. So remember, you have to create the profile family, you have to bring it into the project, and you have to create a new slab edge system family where this profile is hosted inside of it. So there's a little bit of duplication here, but that's how it works. So I'll hit OK. And now I can go ahead and add this thing. You can see that just by adding one, it's sitting exactly like we wanted it to sit. So you can see, boom, boom, and there it is. Now we can add some walls. Now there's one little last tricky thing here, that if we were to add a wall on here, and let's just pick one, and I'll see if I can do this in 3D. So we'll do brick on metal stud. I'll tell it to use the core face exterior, and we will go from here to there. Okay, you can see that obviously it's not going to automatically just drop down to work with our slab edge. So we're going to do a couple little tweaks here and there, nothing major. There's a couple ways to do this, and the first one is just simply go to the wall and tell it that you want to, through the properties, just drop the wall down and do a base offset of say -8 inches. Hit OK. And the problem is just it's going to overlap the floor, and it's going to look just awful in section. Now you can use, under the modify here at this point, the join geometry command. Click the wall, click the floor slab, and blam, all is well. And you should see here, especially if we do a quickie section, and we'll very quickly do a section box. And there it is. It's working just fine. And you got some extra line work here and there, but that's really the easiest way to take care of it. The other way to do it would be to go into the wall family itself and unlock the bottom of the brick, the bottom of the airspace, and the bottom of the sheathing, and have that be controlled separately, which is absolutely doable as well. So if we set this one back very quickly, we'll set it back to 0, hit OK. If we go into the wall and go into the wall type properties, and we'll turn on the preview here because you have to have the preview open to do this, and you have to be in section to do this. So I'm going to zoom in here to the bottom of this wall, and we will go to edit structure, and there we go. Now this is, a lot of people don't know you can do this, so if I actually just go to modify button and click on the bottom of the brick, I can unlock it. Bottom of the airspace, I can unlock it, and the bottom of the sheathing, and I'll unlock it. And what that actually allows us to do, if I hit OK here and then hit OK, you'll notice that the bottom of my brick wall actually has 2 arrows now that I can stretch the components differently. And what it also does in the properties, the instance properties of this wall, actually has now a base extension distance parameter that comes into action. So if I go -8 inches here, just under the base extension, you'll see that it only drops that one section of the brick wall down, which gives me a lot of flexibility instead of having to do join geometry all the time. So it's kind of a two-part process, getting the slab edge made and hosted, and then getting a wall that actually works with it. Otherwise, you just kind of defeated the whole purpose of doing a brick ledge. And so there you go.